the sky, high up there. And here we go, 60, 59. They're counting it down. Slow but sure. You can begin to hear the crowd as it rises in its pitch of fervor. When it reaches the bottom, a great big sign, 2003, will light up. And we're just 45 seconds away from the big moment. Flag is waving. The ball is dropping. The celebration is at the crossroads of the world, Times Square in New York City. And in 30 seconds from now, we'll be counting you right down to the button. Listen to that crowd. That's a happy group of people. Coming up in 15 seconds. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Display at #1 Times Square where the whole building is lighted up. That's our chopper cam getting all of the excitement of a magnificent display as we ring in 2003 down at Disney World. They got the fireworks going. It's excitement all over the country as a brand new year gets underway.
So the year is 2003 and Caitriona moves from Paris to New York City. But first she makes a quick stop in Monahan for Christmas, hangs out with her family as her parents have adopted 2 boys, changing the size of their family from 5 to 7. Now she hangs out with her friend Sara in New York, one of her modeling friends that she met while she was in Paris. And her older sister Anne-Marie is also working there for several years, working for several agencies. Now you know who Anne-Marie is. She's the one that helped Caitriona race the London Marathon to raise money for her charity. Also in London that day was her older sister Deirdre to the right. Deirdre is the oldest of the 3 girls and the only one that has children, a boy and a girl. Then you see Anne-Marie's business card and a little blip about her working for Ernst & Young. While she was in New York City in 2003, there was a major blackout due to a power overload. Then she goes to work for Elite Modeling Agency and leaves the Ford Modeling Agency. While she was in the New York area, she decides to move to Brooklyn. Why? Because she has a new boyfriend, Dave. And also 2 weeks after her birthday, actually 3 weeks after her birthday in October, the musical show Wicked opens up. I'm sure she went and saw it as it's a fabulous production. So stay tuned. This is part 3 of Caitriona Balfe's unauthorized biography called The Birth of a Star.
Caitriona. Ireland.
How old are you?
22.
And you're from Ireland.
Monaghan. Where nobody knows, but it's a small town. Yeah. Of course, I'm Irish, man. You're born with a pint in your hand.
Star sign.
I'm Libra.
Do you read?
Yes.
What do you read?
At the moment, I'm reading The Glass Palace by Anatole France. At the moment, I'm stuck listening to hip hop because that's all my driver plays, but mostly I listen to, I don't know, rock or funky jazz, that kind of thing. Like 70s music.
So Caitriona is in New York working for the Elite Modeling Agency. What I don't think she knew about was that in 2002, Elite, along with other modeling agencies, were sued for hundreds of millions of dollars in a class action suit, accusing them of price fixing for the last 30 years. At the same time, an employee was awarded $5.2 million in a suit concerning passive smoking in the U.S. offices of Elite. The Elite management filed for Chapter 11 in 2004 and was put up for auction and bought by Florida businessman Eddie Trump for $4.4 billion, not related to the President Donald Trump.
So you got your camera there?
Yep. I felt like I must be doing something right to be invited to join this exclusive world of billboards and magazines.
My Tommy Hilfiger billboard apparently just went up.
But in this world that's based in fantasy, nothing comes that quickly and easily without a catch.
You got Marc Jacobs' collection.
How much?
It's more than I thought it would be.
How did it feel when I started to get out-earned by my daughter? It felt great.
It's almost like this carrot is being dangled in front of your face the whole time. You have to keep going and keep going and keep going, and you get carried away with it.
I just feel so completely run down.
I'd wonder, well, how different is what I'm doing from what a stripper does?
The stupid photographer guy backstage was like taking pictures, and I'm like, don't take pictures of me, like I'm like naked, dude.
I do have one experience with a very well-known photographer who's very well known for being sexual.
People in the industry we work with, they don't see us as people.
That's the worst part, I think, is just being treated like a robot and not a human being.
It's very exciting at first, and then there's sort of an emptiness that comes with it as well.
We really don't have to think. We just have one straight platform to walk down once in a while. I'm just acknowledging the reality of our lives.
Why be a prop in someone else's story when you can tell your own?
So that's a preview for the movie Picture Me that Sara Ziff and Ole Schnell made. It took about 4 years as they gave each model a camcorder to chronicle their life, and of course Caitriona's in it. There's too much to talk about while she's here in New York City, so I'm just going to recommend you go to Amazon. It costs $2.99, and I think you'll enjoy it. So here are a few pictures of the award that Ole and Sara won from the Milan International Film Festival. Now, Caitriona and Sara are best friends. She's now 30 years old and living in LA, but you'll see just a couple of pictures along with Andre, the creator of the Milan International Film Festival of 2009.
How would you manage your budget?
Find somebody who knows about all that stuff. I think I think like a lot of people, when you also work in the fashion industry, you're surrounded by these amazing luxury goods, and like everybody wants that like brand new purse and those brand new shoes and everything. But it's true. It's like you could be working like crazy for a month and then you might not work again for 3 months. So it's a thing of realizing that this money is not infinite. It's not an infinite or it's not a finite, resource. So it's like you have to save, and like that's like anybody. But it's just his career doesn't have such a long lifespan. So, and it takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot of your time. It takes a lot of your energy. And it's like if you want anything at the end of it all, then you have to really save and put some aside.
And save and save and save.
And buy some property.
And what is wrong?
karma.
I just can't get you out of my head. Boy, your loving is all I think about.
Milan Fashion Week, established in 1958, is part of the global, quote, Big Four Fashion Weeks, end quote. The others being Paris Fashion Week, London Fashion Week, and New York Fashion Week. The schedule begins with New York, followed by London, and then Milan, and ending in Paris. Working as a model, there were numerous times that I had trouble getting paid the money I was owed. While working for the Italian agency Paolo Tomei in 2002 and 2003, I had perhaps the most successful show season of my career. I was walking the runway for many of the top Italian fashion houses, averaging 26 shows per season, and in that period I earned a total earnings of £240,000. Now in 2003, that was equal to $406,422.85. I'd yet to receive any payment and had learned the agency was declaring bankruptcy and that the financial backers behind the agency had allegedly siphoned off their models' money to private bank accounts in Luxembourg and Switzerland. Shortly after the bankruptcy, the agency founder, Paolo Tomei, moved to another agency. He continued to work in the industry for years. I decided it was time to call in a professional.
Oh, hello. I was just working on a multi-million-dollar lawsuit for one of my clients. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, a lawsuit sounds good, Saul, but who can I sue? Who can you sue? Try police departments, libraries, construction companies, school officials, cleaning services, financial institutions, local and international, your neighbors, your family members, your church, synagogue, or other religious institution, your employers' customers, suppliers, companies in other countries, companies that made the drugs that were turned into the drugs that you took. The possibilities are limitless. But Saul, how can I sue these people and institutions? I have no grounds. Do me a favor. Let me answer that question in person. Better call Saul.
Even with expert representation, I still never received a dime.
Fuck!
Yep, that's what she said. In November 2004, Caitriona, along with some other models, were asked to do a photo shoot at a New York hotel in downtown New York City. You've seen some of the pictures of Caitriona at this article from Vice magazine. Her and the other models made some photographs that weren't too risque. However, the rest of the article was filled with drug use, how to have an orgy. The magazine included the male frontal nudity as well as touching of male and female. I found the whole thing disgusting. I could show you those photographs, but it's not necessary. I believe Caitriona handled herself well, did her photo shoot, and left, and that's the author's opinion.
And that cigarette you're smoking, I'm scaring you up to death. Open up the window, sucker. Let me catch my breath. Mama told me not to come. Mama told me not to come. That ain't the way to have fun, son. That ain't the way to have fun.
Radio 4 is an American dance punk group based in Brooklyn, New York. It was founded in 1999, and they claim their music is, quote, made in New York, is about New York, and sounds like New York. In part 1, we learned the following. People with this name, Caitriona, tend to be passionate, compassionate, intuitive, romantic, and have magnetic personalities. They are romantic and easily fall in love, and may be easily hurt and sometimes are quick-tempered. The following is an article from the Daily Mirror, March 5th, 2005. I am dating a guy called Dave Malone, who is a musician in a band called Radio 4. We've been going out for about 2 years, and it is pretty serious between us. Our schedules mean we don't get to see each other as much as we would like. He started a tour this week, and I've been in Paris, so when I get back to New York, he'll be gone. But we try to see each other as often as we can, and we can both travel, so we meet up when we are near each other. Side note, Caitriona at this point doesn't have a driver's license. It can be hard to keep a relationship going with so much traveling, but you can make it work if you want to. Dave has been to Ireland twice and has met my parents, so I'd say things are going well between us. There may be other thoughts in her mind too when she says that despite the fact that she loves New York, quote, I don't think I could bring up children there, end quote. Does he feel the same, I ask, quote, he'd better, she retorts. Now I looked up the definition of retort, and it says to make a quick answer that is often amusing and sometimes expresses anger or annoyance. I found Dave Malone on social media, and we chatted for several months. Here's one of the things he told me, though, that I'd like to share with you. Quote, hey, I really don't feel good about giving you information on Kat. We haven't spoken in a bit, and I want to be respectful of her privacy. But I can tell you this. She identifies with the Joe Walsh song, Life's Been Good to Me. She is an amazingly good and moral person, and is naturally lucky to be so humble. She understands people and life, and never takes advantage of a single human. She has my respect, that's all I'm going to tell you. So Caitriona meets Dave at a local club, I'm sure, although it can't be confirmed, and falls madly in love and instantly moves in with Dave in East Side, New York, in Chinatown. There, as you can see, in apartment 2F. Now, this apartment has about 1,400 square feet, and it has a flat layout with a beautiful window overlooking a park. However, it's not conducive to Dave playing and practicing his music. So in a very short period of time, they moved to Greenpoint, Brooklyn, and they rent an apartment there, as you can see, on 173 Norman Avenue. It was built in 1920, and it has a basement. This is perfect for Dave being able to practice and play his music. So Dave and Caitriona are now living in North Point, Brooklyn. It's a beautiful area, close to McCarran Park, which has a pool and outdoor concert arena, along with many parks with flowers. I read one article where she would take her bike and ride around the park in the summertime. Also is a restaurant she enjoys called Eden's. Now we're going to learn more about Eden's in chapter 4, the final part. Here's a menu showing some of the vegetarian items that Caitriona enjoys. I believe she is a vegetarian. I know she hates ham. And the last picture here of a gentleman that we're going to know all about in chapter 4, the final chapter that will wrap everything together. Dave and Caitriona now did a music video with one of his songs. His name is now The Teen Beaters. It's a very dark video. Please be aware there is simulated vomit and drug paraphernalia. You'll also see on the gate as she opens the door it says 173. So it was actually filmed in their apartment in Brooklyn. So make up your own mind what you think. It's a very interesting but yet dark video.
Just 50 cents, some liquid incense, and board up my doors to make it hard. No magazines, vanilla ice cream, my sheets are all clean, now that's a start. 3 days from this point, I'll emerge from this joint, a shiny new man, my own God, 'cause my own God has to make it so hard. Should it make it so hard to be myself again? It's hard. You make it so hard. Should it make it so hard to find my health again? It's hard. Hunger begins, then fever sets in. I remember this feeling as a child, wrapped up in a ball, bouncing from the walls. I guess this is all I promised me. Now where are my friends? All my fair weather friends to help me to do it again and again, to do it again. Yeah, I miss my fair weather friends, but I guess I'll do this again. But it's too hard.
Our next guests are a talented rock and roll trio from Scotland whose debut CD is entitled Costello Music. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the Fratellis.
Just because you're feeling well, and you made me talk dirty in a pink hotel. It doesn't mean she's got eyes for me. She might just want my boy to see. But ain't fine, no, you get me. She's the second best girl I ever had seen. Don't come much more sympathy. I got one and you want me to. You're so wrong, so very nice. And I told you once and you killed me twice. Saw you one time on the back of the club. Two and a half glass and I took your stuff. I ran the boy to the bed. I just knew it said, oh my God, till she said, everybody knows you're the one to call when the girls get ugly from the back of the wall.
So on April 25th, 2007, a new three-piece band from Glasgow, Scotland came in and played at the David Letterman show. And with all bands, you need a manager. And guess who the manager is? So it's our friend Tony, or Anthony McGill. Caitriona's future husband is in New York City. She's always said that a friend had introduced them. I think I know who that is. But we're going to take a look at that in the early part of 2019 where we wrap up this entire series of Caitriona Mary Balfe's Unauthorized Biography.
Check out my shoes.
How are they to walk in?
They're fine. I'm kind of used to them at this point, though.
Yeah. Mine are really fun. You can dance if you want to. You can do anything.
It's almost like this carrot is being dangled in front of your face the whole time, you know. It's like, you know, you have to keep going and keep going and keep going, and you get carried away with it, and you know, you allow yourself to be kind of manipulated into making money, but making money not the way that you ever wanted to, because most people, when they began to model, they had no idea what they wanted to do. I've realized that without even noticing it, 6-7 years of, or 8 years probably, have just flown by, and kind of the ambitions I had or the plans I had have kind of gone to the wayside, and I've kind of sacrificed a lot of my dreams just to fulfill what a booker told me is a good thing to do, or to, you know. And then I realized, God, I'm 27 and I haven't even began the next part of my life.
So Caitriona is 27, approximately 28, and she decides to give up runway modeling. She also leaves behind Dave Malone. I think they'd already broken up anyway, and his band Radio 4 is dissolving because of not enough record sales. She says in one article that her self-esteem is completely shot and she just needs to get away. So she moves to California, only knowing one person, a writer there, and she decides to take a year off as the money she has saved from modeling will take her through. She signs up for modeling classes, and we're going to discuss all of that. We're going to tie this whole story together and this year-long project. So I hope you stay with me. Subscribe to our channel. The channel final chapter, part 4, will come out in the early part of 2019, as there's a lot of research goes into these. And I hope you stick with me for the final end of Caitriona Mary Balfe's Unauthorized Biography called The Birth of a Star.